You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
This season is nothing short of newsworthy. Like, this is normally what's weird is normally this is the number one topic that we talk about.
Yeah.
And it's not because Jared Curtis, signing day, all that stuff. But we have, I think we have some time to talk about Pavia being the Heisman frontrunner. We'll get a lot of good discussion on that next week as everything wraps up and everything just kind of unfolds. The other guys have a chance to kind of really gain some footing a little bit.
Yeah.
But here's the latest odds. Diego Pavia, plus 150. It's a tight race. Julian Sayin, plus 175. Fernando Mendoza, plus 180. And then Jeremiah Love, plus 4,000. So it's a very tight race. The leaders in the clubhouse. Can Diego Pavia stave off a late rally from Julian Sayin and or Fernando Mendoza to take home the Heisman? That's our guiding question for this segment. Mike, you got two of these guys playing against each other this weekend. How is that game going to impact this race? And how important is it that Pavia has actually kind of jumped ahead in favor with a lot of the voters?
I think on one half it's really big, and on one half it's not going to matter. I think if Indiana wins, Fernando Mendoza will win the Heisman Trophy. And he has a chance even if they don't. If Ohio State wins, but Sayin doesn't do great, that's Pavia's path to winning. It's a massive advantage that both of these guys have another game to play this weekend and he doesn't. Mm-hmm. If I was placing a bet today, I would bet on Pavia to finish second after whichever QB wins the Big Ten title game. I just think it's a disadvantage not playing. But the fact that he has went from anywhere between 2 and 4 in the last 3 weeks to number 1 now shows how well he's been playing down the stretch and what an impact he's made on that team. Because there were a couple weeks ago where it was kind of Sayin Mendoza and then Pavia and Ty Simpson. Well, Simpson's fallen off. Jeremiah Love has ascended. I think now we basically know the 4 guys that are going to be in New York.
Yeah. And I think it's a 3-man race. And
I agree. 100%. Yeah.
And it's not a slam dunk. I think 3 weeks ago, when we talked about this, we were like, yeah, it's Mendoza's to lose. Pavia is going to be in New York. He should be in New York. And, that's good enough. But now, I think it's disappointing if he doesn't win it because he's, for 3 straight weeks, 3 straight games, I should say, he put up over 400 yards of total offense, over 500 against Auburn. And actually might be the last 4, Texas, Auburn, Kentucky. Yeah, the last 4 games he's put up over 400 yards of total offense. And so you look at those stats and you can't ignore that. He scored 36. He's accounted for 36 touchdowns, and he's a 72% passer. The numbers say that he deserves it. The impact, the fact that Vanderbilt is 10-2 and in playoff conversations, even if the door was slammed right in their face, the fact he's in those conversations, I think that's going to influence voters, and they're going to say, okay, well, Julian Sayin he's the best quarterback on the best team, right? Okay, that's great. Fernando Mendoza, he's a great story. But Indiana was a playoff team last year, so it wasn't really a huge jump.
They're similar to the Vandy story, though, where they're a team that came out of nowhere the last 2 years and has really surprised people.
Yeah. So
now it's different. They did have a different QB last year. I absolutely get that. Yeah. But they're still seen as an outsider in a lot of people's minds and a newcomer, so to speak.
Yeah. And I get that. And that's probably why I would put Mendoza and Pavia as your real guys that are battling. I think Julian Sayin's going to have a massive game to take home the Heisman. I think it's going to have to be he throws for 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a monster game to kind of get in the race because they'll have to blow Indiana out, I think, for him to win it. Yeah. Exactly. Because I think the stories are better because you're not just walking into the best team in America and doing what you're supposed to do. You're walking into a basketball school who they kind of stumbled their way into the playoffs last year, got shellacked by Notre Dame, and nobody believed they could repeat. Now here they are as the number 2 team in the country with Fernando Mendoza. And then you get Diego Pavia, who people try to write him off every week for different reasons. And Vanderbilt sits at 10-2, ranked 14th in the college football playoff rankings, 12 in the AP poll. On the outside looking in, unfortunately, to the playoff, and that would have been a huge boost for his Heisman campaign if they got into the playoff. But it's a scenario where those are 2 massive stories. And so it's going to be basically Midwest versus South, and who's going to take the West Coast.
And I think I was just going to say the geography will play a bigger role this year than it usually does, or potentially could, because we have the Indiana, Ohio guys overlapping a lot of the same voters. Presumably Pavia will take the South.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the Midwest, probably whoever wins the Big Ten. And all 3 of them are native West Coast guys from out in that region, interestingly enough.
Yeah, so. I think Pavia will take the Southwest corridor, like the Arizona, New Mexico, and like West Texas, and probably a lot of Texas. It'll be California will be it'll be a Heisman battleground state.
It might.
I think Oregon and Washington and like the Mountain West region will probably lean a Big Ten guy.
Who, it's tough.
It's a coin flip there, but I think it's going to come down to who can take California, who can take, that Mountain West region. Because I think the breadbasket's going to go Big Ten. I think the Southwest and the Southeast are going to go Pavia. And then I think California is going to come down to if Julian Sayin blows out, is that enough to get California? Is that enough? Or if Pavia somehow, I don't know. It's going to be interesting nonetheless. And so I'm very, just the fact that we have this conversation, I think is why we talk about Jared
just
Curtis.
being here talking about this is amazing for the program.
Like we're actually breaking down votes for the Heisman. Like 4 weeks ago, we were just like, hey, we're going to be happy to be here. Like he's just get him to New York, let him be a part of the ceremony. We can talk about that when we talk to big time recruits or big time portal guys. And here we are.
Not like that now, though. Him and Mendoza will both be massively disappointed if they don't win, whoever doesn't win.
Exactly. The expectation is, hey, we're winning it. And I think, obviously Pavia thinks that no matter what. But I think the notion nationwide now is, okay, Pavia has a legitimate shot here. And that's a huge, huge deal for this race.